I'd like to call to order the Board of Directors meeting of the Municipal Water Finance Authority and ask Deborah to call the roll. Alan Andrews for Dean Fullahan.
Robert Elburn for Commissioner Segos.
Jacqueline Gold for Dr.
Joe Murin for Commissioner Sapienza.
Mark Shaw.
Yes.
Okay. We need, first item is the approval of the minutes of the meeting of March 31st. We need a motion and a second.
Second.
My only detail is the misspelling of my name in them.
You have a very complicated name.
March.
Thank you.
You're a month.
Any other changes? Any opposition to the motion? It's adopted. So item number 2 is the approval of appointments of officers. We said several months ago we'd come back, and we have a very thorough vetting process at OMB, and it takes a little bit of time, but that's a good thing. And so I'm going to go through the entire list. As you know, we've been in the process of restructuring our management since Tom Palicelli has departed. We miss him. So first we have the suggested appointment of Olga Chernat as Executive Director. She has previously served as Treasurer for the Water Authority about 10 years ago. And then she left. Her biographies in your packet. She went to become Deputy Finance Director at the MTA. Has done a great job there. And of course, it's a sister agency, so we all keep in touch. In addition, during that period, she has gotten an appointment on the National Debt Committee of the Government Finance Officers Association, and I think that's a very big deal, in part because I'm also on that committee and have been for many years, but it's very important because that group, the GFOA, deals with all the regulators of our bonds, with the SEC and the MSRB, and by the way, Bob Balducci is a major figure on the accounting group for the GFOA, so we try to man all those groups and stay involved. I'll just mention that a couple years ago, the Women in Bonds group designated Olga's, gave her the designation of Rising Star in our industry, which we already knew because we keep in contact with Olga, but another evidence of what she's been doing. So we're very pleased to have her here. I want her to have an opportunity to say a couple things to you, but I want to go through the rest of the list because I think she'll want to comment on the rest of the team as well. I have introduced previously Sana Wang Chen, who has been principally on the non-water side. She also was with OMB 10 years ago, roughly when Olga was here. She left to go to one of the securities firms and was one of the top quantitative analysts creating refundings for New York City to do and so forth. And so we were very pleased that a year ago she came back and in fact moved back in the city, as I think I mentioned to you, in order to qualify for the residency requirements with her husband and her 2 kids. 2 kids? Yes. What we are proposing is to have her be appointed as Deputy Executive Director. This will not be full-time. She'll continue her duties on the non-water. But one thing Dean Fullahan and I decided is that we don't want to be in a position where we're having the Executive Director, as was the case with Tom Palicelli, not have adequate support at every level, including a senior level. So Sana, supporting me in the time since Tom left in January, has been involved in every single aspect of the Water Authority business. And so if Olga has any reason not to be around, including vacation, which is a good thing, or any other reason, we have Sana who can step up and work with me. So that's a very important thing. And then we have 2 proposed appointments as assistant treasurers. One is Jason Rhee has been with us, and he's back in the corner there next to Sana since January 2014. Yes, the beginning of the de Blasio administration, and Since Tom left, he's been our rock, making sure that I signed all our many procurements every month, not every month, every week. A stack of them come in. And I told Jason that we were going to have regular staff meetings, that we wanted a calendar, we wanted a list that we would follow up in the next week. And he's the person that's actually kept us going and coordinating with DEP very much on all the matters there. In addition, finally, Laura Tarbox is in the corner, and she has been working with us for about 10 years as well, but here rather than elsewhere. And she does the debt service budget reporting to Jay Olson, that some of you know, for the city, which is a big deal. But she also, with these defeasances that we do for the Water Authority out of our surpluses, the city has the same thing, as Mark Shaw knows, where we have a roll every year of money from year to year, and we do defeasances or treat the money in some other ways. So we've been drawing on Laura's expertise in doing fund management and investments to support me and Sana and Jason, but Olga wanted to continue that in terms of having that specialization that could be brought to bear as well. So I don't think I've done it yet, but we need a motion and a second to appoint each of these officers, and they'll now be on the first page of the OS every time, including the OS we're printing today. So could I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
I'd just like to add that, when you refer to Olga as having also worked at the sister agency, the MTA, she also is a graduate of CUNY, which is also important to some of us.
We may have some particular board members vote there. Any objections to the resolution? Olga, do you want to say a couple of things? Or?
Well, I don't know if I can add much about the team. I think Alan did a great job and very thorough job at describing of various roles and what my colleagues do here on a team. So I guess I just would like to thank Alan and say that I'm very excited to be back at the authority as the executive director. I've been here already about a month, and I've talked to a lot of people. I've talked to my former colleagues like Alan. I talked to my new colleagues like Jason. And together, I think we see a lot of opportunities for this organization, and I'm sure that with your support, we will be able to make a great difference for the authority and for all the New Yorkers that depend on it providing very cost-efficient funding for the water and sewer infrastructure of the city. So again, thank you for putting the trust in me and my colleagues on our new management team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Next item of business, resolution approving a supplemental resolution number 128 authorizing the issuance of the fiscal 2018 series AA general resolution bonds upon a recommendation of the Finance Committee. I could have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, you have that information. There was a briefing at the Finance Committee level. In the few minutes since then, any additional questions that you didn't have at the Finance Committee level? I always ask it that way. No. If not, any objection to the resolution? And then the second part of the financing matters here, the approval of the extension of the fiscal 2015 Series 1 bans. A motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Any additional questions on that item? Any objections to the resolution? It's adopted. So we have just two other items. One is a ratification of the approval of directors and officers insurance. If we could, a motion and a second, we'll go through that.
Second.
All right, we've typically gone through a broker to come up with D&O insurance and a collection of insurers to provide that. That has been Wells Fargo, and there's been a limitation now, at least for a while, in the business relationships that we're doing with Wells Fargo. So To ensure there's no lapse in coverage, we executed already a 30-day extension with the previous insurance providers, American Insurance Company, Zurich, Liberty Mutual Insurance Company, and Aspen for $14,000 just to cover us for that period of time. But what this resolution is for is to seek to enter in a one-year contract with these same insurers for a total annual premium not to exceed $250,000. The cost last year was $191,000, so that's where our objective is going to be with that cushion. So are there any, I think this is an important item for the board, and if there are any questions?
Are there any changes in coverage?
No, we do not anticipate changes in coverage. There's not a lot of flexibility as to coverage of this sort as well. Other questions? Any objections to the resolution? It's passed. And then we need a resolution for the approval of the mission statement and performance measures and an authorization to publish the measurement report. Motion and second.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, great. Pursuant to Section 2800 of the Public Authorities Law, the authority is required to annually review its mission statement and utilizes defined measurements to evaluate how well the authority is carrying out its mission. The Board of Directors previously adopted a mission statement on October 1, 2007, and amended it on March 29, 2010 to add the performance measures that are now part of this. The proposed resolution will approve the mission statement and performance measures without changes, and authorizes the completed measurement report to be posted on the authority's website and sent to the authority budget office. That's a state entity. Yes, Debbie? Yes. And we've given you the measurement report. So are there any questions on this item? Any objections to the resolution? Not hearing any, it's adopted. Any other business for the board? Okay, motion to adjourn in a second.
So moved.
Any objections? Thank you very much.